Hello, everyone. This is Coach Clayton, and this is my Women's Empowerment Interview episode. And today we have Tiyauna. Hi, Tiyauna. And
Hi.
she's going to tell us about her amazing journey, personally and professionally, and how she overcame some of the obstacles in her life. Hi, Tiyauna, and welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to meet with us and give us a little inspiration, Thank
No
you.
problem.
Okay, so Tiyauna, let's just dive right into it, okay? So your background really intrigued me. You had quite a few things that you overcame in life that I know will be inspirational to a lot of women. So let me know where you want to start. Tell me where you want to
Okay,
start.
well, I had sent, like we kind of discussed, I had a health issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's right to call it a health issue, but I had some issues with my health back in 2019. Long story short, I had weight loss surgery.
Okay.
So December 2019, everything was slated to be fine, go normal, had done everything that I needed to do, as far as the requirements, getting tested, everything pretty much panned out. I had the actual surgery, and on December 17th, the weight loss surgery went fine. I was getting ready to go home. The day that I was getting ready to go home from the hospital, which is 2 days after the surgery, I started having really bad stomach pain, but it was unlike anything else I had felt. And it was to the point where I was on the floor. I remember being on the floor kicking and screaming because I was in such agony, excruciating pain. Fast forward, what happened was I got a blood clot in my intestines. I'm prone to blood clots. So I got a blood clot in my intestines. I don't remember much because after that, they put me in an induced coma. I did have a couple of surgeries after that to, have some things taken out, my intestines, things like that to get the clot out and, get me stabilized. So I was in a coma for a little while. I do remember my family coming down and things of that nature, and just kind of rallying around me, supporting my mom, was really there, prayed me through, my dad, and all of those things. And right before COVID hit, that's when I went home. I was in the hospital for maybe 8 to 10 weeks. Wow. So right before COVID hit, I went home. And I just thought, after that, I was just, thanking God because I made it through. And I just thought that was going to be it. It just, uphill from there. And it wasn't. It got worse. You know what I mean? I had a new stomach that I needed to get used to. I had new health issues that I had never had before. And it just was a downhill trot. You know what I mean? I was unable to eat. Of course, the weight loss surgery, you lose weight, but I wasn't supposed to lose 100 pounds in 2 months either.
Wow.
Yeah. And it just was, I just couldn't function. I couldn't, I slept all day, couldn't eat. I was super depressed. And then it got so bad that I couldn't walk. And I had to be I was in a wheelchair for 10 months. And, I was able to sustain myself financially for about 7 to 8 months after that, but there was no money left. I wasn't working. And it was just me at the time with one income. And so, and I have a daughter, she's 15 now, she was 13 around that time. And I lost everything. I lost my house, I lost my car, and I had to go move with family, my dad, eventually moved with my mom and things of that nature. But long story short, it's so much more I could go into about that, but it taught me something. 2020, I spent the entire year mad, angry at everybody else. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. The doctor could have did this, my family doesn't care. Oh, woe is me. You know what I mean? And I was angry. I was super angry. And nothing just was getting better. It just seemed like it just kept going down. And then I'm going to be honest. I'm telling my truth. I was embarrassed to be in the wheelchair, like embarrassed. Because not only was I in a wheelchair, but I had to have people, bathe me, take care of me, going to the bathroom. I got a 13-year-old child. She was helping me. You know what I mean? And so I felt like I had lost everything that I was. And I was angry at everybody but me.
Yep.
And I had a conversation, my mom, I'm going to be honest, my mom really kept me grounded and focused during that time. My mom, everybody, not to just slight anybody, my grandmother,
Yes.
my aunts, different things, my girlfriends, kept
Mhm.
me grounded. But when you're going through it, you like, I don't want to hear that because you're not
Yep.
in a wheelchair.
Yep.
You can get up
Yep.
in the morning and go.
Mhm.
It's not like that.
Mhm.
And you know, I just, I don't know. I was having a conversation with my aunt one time, and she was just like, maybe God wants you to see some things about yourself. Oh, well, I didn't want to hear that. I
I
didn't
know
want to hear
that's
that.
right.
I didn't want to
Yes.
hear because people
Yep.
like to make it. They like to make it cute. Like, yeah, and I just was praying. No, I wasn't praying. I didn't care. I was mad. God had left
Mhm.
me and all of that. And
Yep.
so, she said maybe you need to look at yourself. And so what I did was I
Mhm.
began to look back on who I was, and I based who I was on things. I had worked for the government for 15 years of my life. I made a ton of money doing what I was
Mhm.
doing. I was
Yep.
good at what I was doing. I could do it
Yep.
while I was asleep. Could nobody tell me nothing.
Yep.
I could buy what I wanted. I could
Yep.
go where I wanted. And
Mhm.
sis was just, I had an arrogance about me. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I had an arrogance. I had, a pompous idea of who I was. And I
Yep.
wasn't kind to people. I talked to people any kind of way. I wasn't healthy in not only my work relationships, I wasn't healthy in my dating relationships and
Yep.
family relationships because it was all about me. I was
Mhm.
self-centered, and I just felt like, hey, I got the money, so you just do what I say do. And I wasn't kind. And
Mhm.
until and I didn't recognize that in myself until the beginning of 2021. And it took me a
Mhm.
whole year to recognize, maybe this didn't happen because you're being punished, but you needed to see some things. You needed to reevaluate your who you are as a person, and not put the mindset that the things that you provide makes you who you are. And
Exactly.
because I was one of those women, I kept my nails done, my hair done, I had the nicest clothes, shoes, bags, whatever. And here
Mhm.
I was, I'm keeping it real. I
Mhm.
can laugh at it now. Here I was wearing some 1984 dad tennis shoes that my dad got me
Mhm.
from Walmart.
I love
All I
it.
could wear was burgundy sweatpants suits, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And not the cute ones, the
Mhm.
little Walmart dad ones. And I had got mad and cut my hair real short in the front and had left the back long. I don't know what I was thinking. Just having a moment, just no
Yes.
eyebrows done, no nails
Yep.
done. And so it really humbled me. It humbled me so much. And when I was going through it, I just initially I was like, God, okay, I'm just gonna be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. I gave up. And once
Mhm.
I realized, okay, God was trying to change some things in me. I'm not saying that he was punishing me. He always gives us an opportunity to make a choice. And going back, I know I'm flip-flopping, going back, the
Mhm.
day of the surgery, I actually heard him tell me don't have the surgery. But I did what I wanted to
Really,
do. Yeah, I did.
Tiana?
I heard it a couple of times. Do not do it.
Okay.
Even to the point when how you get ready to go into anesthesia. Then when they were getting ready to he told me don't do it. I had paid my money
Yeah.
and I wanted my Beyonce body in
Yeah.
a couple of months. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
I know.
I wasn't trying to hear that. I wanted to look like
Mhm.
Beyonce, and my goal was don't judge me. I wanted to be able to wear a dress at Express. I don't know why, out of
Mhm.
all the stores in the world, I just wanted to be able to wear a dress and Express.
At
You know what I mean?
Express. Yeah.
Um, I don't know why. I don't really care for the clothes that much, but I said no. Once I can fit their stuff, I done made it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like I was saying, until I identified those things in myself,
Mhm.
nothing changed. But then when I did, I said, okay, God, all right, I can't base who I am on what I have. I'm good enough without things. I have enough to bring,
Mhm.
I have enough to offer because of who I am and because of what's in my heart, that I
Yeah.
don't have to have things. People don't have to like me based on what I have or what I can do for them.
Mhm.
I'm enough. And I
That's
never
right.
really you know, digging deeper, I never felt that way. Not because I wasn't raised that way. I come from a family of really confident women, but I look different. I was always kind of the bigger one in my family. So I just felt like, okay, maybe if I get smaller, things will change, things will be better.
Right.
And when I started to do the work, and really get into what was gonna make me happy, what
Yeah.
I wanted my life to look like,
Yeah.
and things that I wanted to change. And also too, the biggest thing um, was I had to forgive myself. And that was hard. Instead of
Mm.
blaming everybody else and
Mm-hmm.
saying they did this, they did that, I had to forgive myself. That was the very first thing. Once I started to do that, life
Mm-hmm.
started to change for me. I started to heal. I started to feel better from the inside out, regardless that my hair was short and long in the back and it looked a mess. Regardless that I had no money, regardless that I was dependent on my family to take care of me financially, I still was enough. And once I did that, things started to get better. My health, I started to being able to walk. I got some really great physical therapists. Shout out to my physical therapist in Fairhaven, Massachusetts. I love them. Um,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and they really, even when I wanted to fight against them, they're like, no, we're not giving up. You might want to give up, but we want to keep doing this. And once I forgave myself and acknowledged the things that I needed to do, and then I started going back and apologizing to people. I had
Yeah.
to, not because I was looking for them to, just, be happy about it, because everybody wasn't. I had done some damage that couldn't be repaired, but I had to go back and let them know, please forgive me, in your time.
Mm-hmm.
Please forgive me. I didn't handle this correctly. This is my
Yeah.
heart. If you want to engage, fine. But I had to be okay with people who didn't. And there were some people who didn't. Understandable.
Yes.
But once I started to do that and allow God to work through me, things started getting better. You know what I mean? And I,
Mm-hmm.
my life now, I don't know how I don't know how it's happened. Like I make way less than I did then, like more than
Mm-hmm.
half less, but I'm happy. And
Yes.
I am living,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing things now that I couldn't do then
Yeah.
with the money that I had. You know what I mean? But I was listening to
Yes.
one of your episodes and I
Mm-hmm.
totally agree with you. Now, money does make it more comfortable. Now, it
Yes.
definitely does, because you don't,
Mm-hmm.
want to have to worry about when is the next meal and things like that. It does make
Mm-hmm.
things comfortable, but I learned firsthand that
Yeah.
it can't make you happy.
Oh
It cannot
no.
make you happy. So
Mm-mm.
yeah, that's where I am. I try to share my story with as many people as possible, not to say, look what I did, because I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? God put something in me, gave me the strength to say, okay, all right, now I can use you to help other people. Because
Yeah.
before, all I could tell them was, girl, just go to Gucci and get you a bag. You'll feel better. You know what I mean?
Love it.
You know
You
what I
know,
mean?
you know
Yeah.
why I laugh so much, Tiyauna, is because I can really relate to you. I can
Yeah.
really relate to you. Like, especially in my 20s and 30s, you couldn't
Mm-hmm.
tell me anything. Like, I
Yeah.
was always, I can't say that things came easy to me, but I was always able to like climb the
Yes.
ladder. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And I was
Yes.
always able to, even though I had kids very young, got married
Mm-hmm.
very young, I was always able to make money. And to me,
Right.
I thought that materialistic and money was so important. Like if I
Mm-hmm.
can, and I always had this sort of condescending way about me. If I can do it, why can't you do it? You know what I
Thank you.
mean?
Thank you. And
You know what
judgment.
I mean?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then things, I think as I got older, I think that things were put into perspective to say, who cares? Like you're
Right.
buying cars from people that don't even really care. Do
Right.
you
Exactly.
really, it's about what makes you happy
Yes.
internally. It's not
Yes.
about all the stuff and what people expect you to look like or be like. No, it's all
Yes.
about what you want. And
Exactly.
just designing a life that I'm happy about. And that
Mm-hmm.
makes me happy. That brings me peace.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
can
So
relate
true.
so
So
much,
true.
so
Yeah.
much.
I can let me share with you this real quick too.
Yeah.
There has been a pair of tennis shoes that I've worn, and I'm not a tennis shoe person or a sneaker
Mhm.
person. I sound old school saying tennis shoes or country. I'm not really a sneaker person, but there was a pair of shoes that I've been wanting since I was a young girl.
Yeah.
And I was able to find them after some research and gift them to myself. And I was all excited. I kept checking the tracking to make sure. And they finally came, got them, tried them on, and I was like, okay, this it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
Yes.
okay, God, I appreciate it that I can be able to afford to get this, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
I
know
wore them
what you
one
mean.
time and I kind of was like, okay, all right. You know what I mean? Did get done,
Mhm.
and it was different. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
wasn't on Instagram and social media all flexing them and what the kids say and all of that. But
Yeah.
I just was like, okay, I thank you but I'm good. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm good. You know what I mean? So
yes, it's like bleeding. It's like you'll get it. It's nice, but then it's like, okay, I need substance. I need substance. You know? When you talk about your journey, what I love is that you go through, it's sort of like what they call the grieving process, where it's like depression, anger, and then acceptance.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you said that you worked on yourself. What did you do? Was it just reflection? Like, how did you work on your inner self?
I really looked at took the time to go back and review how people said I was. Okay. But I didn't at the time. I didn't, I'm like, whatever, you know what I mean? And I was like you, I was the youngest person in management, and I felt like if I can do it, come on, you know what I mean? There's no excuse. And my mom has always put that in me in a positive way, that you gotta work hard. And I felt like, child, if I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? So get it together and call it a day. But that's not everybody's call in life, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you have things that I don't have, and that's okay. But I started working on that, just thinking about my relationships, like especially with my dating relationships and my family relationships, those two the most. I had to acknowledge that I wasn't too kind of a person. Now, I'm not saying it was all my fault, but there was some things that I needed to change there. But there was a pattern there too, because I dated men, a certain way, because I normally, and my mother had mentioned this to me years ago. She said, you kind of date men that you can control. No, I don't. It's not my fault that they don't have no backbone. But I did that because it was a control thing. Yeah. And so I had to, forgive myself for some situations that I put myself in, and then have to go back to the guys, or the guys in my life that were nice, that I pushed away. You know what I mean? And so when I started to go back, accept who I was, and started to go back and apologize to these people, that's when things started to turn for me. You know what I mean? That's how I was able to get through that process. But I had to accept who I was, and it did not feel good. Because when somebody tells you, babe, you just ABC, you first you're like, no, when you just need to. But then you think, when just to yourself, you're like, I did talk to people crazy. I was rude. I was very nasty. And even my employees, people that I didn't even work with anymore, I had to go back and call them. Now here I am later with my little pawpaw sweatsuit on the phone, smiling and crying, because I had to pour my heart out to a person genuinely. But even with that, there was still a learning lesson in that, because there were some people that weren't receptive to that, and I had to be okay with it, because I did my part. Now I can't force you to accept what I want you to accept. I can only do my part and be okay. Now, if you want to engage later, that's fine. I'm here, but I needed to let you know that you are valuable. You were enough, and it was not a reflection of who you were as a person. It was me. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, you have a business. What type of business do you have? Social media, or tell me a little bit about it.
So I just recently started that. I'm a big social media person. Like I'm one of those people, what do they call those people when they just buy stuff when we were younger, buy stuff online, or off the TV, whatever that thing is. I'm one of those
yes.
Social media, name. Just Home Shopping Network. My grandmother used to do that. Like, I'm the social media person. Like, I'm like, when they put an ad up, I don't care what it is. It could be an electric mop. I need it. You know what I mean? I'm like one of those people. And so what I saw was, I just observed. I'm a really observant person, and I saw how people were building their brand on social media. I don't think that should be the only way that you build your brand, because if the internet goes down, you don't want to just have that as your sole way of communicating with people. But I do enjoy the interaction. I like how people interact. I like how we cultivate relationships, brands, and partnerships just through social media, because it opens you up to a world that or group of people that you may not in life be able to communicate with. And so what I saw was there was some businesses, my friends have businesses, small businesses, and they great products. should definitely be on Oprah's list, not
Yeah.
because they're my friends, but just great products, but they weren't meeting,
Mhm.
connecting with their community. So I just started doing research on it.
Okay.
And saying, how can we push these brands out on a smaller level when we don't have the Amazon money, when we don't have the Amazon
Yes.
visibility? And
Mhm.
so I just started doing that. And it's always been something I like to do.
Okay.
I just turned it into a business recently. I'm still in the beginning stages,
Mhm.
but now I'm currently working, and I branched off to not just business that are selling a product, but I branched off to churches as well, because
Ooh.
there are churches, especially in this climate, that didn't survive the
Yeah.
pandemic because they didn't know how to transition from an in-person church to a virtual church. And
Yeah.
so that's something new that I started, but I really like it. And just
Yes.
trying to get people engaged. My business is not based on, if you just want followers, then I'm not the person for you. But if you
Okay.
want to create a community of loyal customers and build a brand, then yes, because we can get followers. You can go on YouTube and they'll show you
Mhm.
the algorithm to get followers. That's fine.
Absolutely.
But I don't want a million followers and nobody's buying my product.
That's
That's not
right.
helping me. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I'm really hands-on with the people that I work with and trying to partner with them and get their vision out there. So that's
Yeah.
what I do. So I'm really enjoying it. It's in the beginning stages, but I'm having
Mhm.
fun with it. And I'm meeting a lot of different people around the
Nice.
world that I may not have been able to connect with. And that's always been a prayer for me. I'm like, I want a diverse group of friends, business acquaintances, and I want to be able to travel the world. So I thought it was going to look a
Yes.
certain way, but now I'm learning it's not linear. It comes in different ways. So I'm really
Okay.
enjoying that. Yeah.
And where can people find you online?
Okay. If they go online on social media, any social media, unpacked energy.
Okay.
Um, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I do have a TikTok, y'all, but what do I call it? A TikTok. My daughter gets so embarrassed. She's like, "Mike, you're so cringy." I do have a TikTok, y'all, but I haven't jumped over to that yet. I'm working with some clients that have it, so I don't know if it's for me, but
Mhm.
I'll get on there, y'all. I'm gonna do me a TikTok. But they
Okay.
can email me at unpackedenergy@gmail.com.
Okay.
I'm one of those people I always get back, because sometimes
Mhm.
people will reach out and you don't hear anything. Please send me they can send me a DM, email. I'm always there. So to answer
Okay.
any questions or help. Yeah.
So all of you all, if you need branding, it's more like branding social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
Yeah, please contact Tiyauna.
Yep.
Tiyauna, in closing, what is one of the biggest lessons that you want to share with our audience?
Um, One of the biggest lessons that I've learned many, but recently I'm learning that life or situations are not linear. You cannot um set yourself on achieving a goal one way. It's just not possible. I'm somebody that's I like to know when, where, how, and I like it to look a certain way.
Yeah.
So when I used to go outside, things happen outside of that, I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. But now
Mhm.
I'm learning that you can't base your experiences on that, or set your goals on that, because you limit yourself. You have to have an open mind. Everything that I'm doing now is something that I prayed for, but I had an idea of how it was going to look,
Yeah.
or how I thought, my education or what I did know would take me. And it's completely opposite.
Mhm.
Just real quick, I have done comedy for years. And as much as I enjoy comedy, I'm a writer too. I like to write. So
Okay.
I said, okay, well, I'm going to get the exposure by doing traveling across the country and doing comedy. Well, that don't work for me. That's just
Okay.
not where my path. But I'm learning now. I'm able to do that through my writing. I write for other people.
Nice.
I ghost write books, segments.
Nice.
For comedians as well. And I'm learning I'm still achieving what I wanted, but it's just coming a different way. And like I just
Yes.
said, I've always prayed since I was little. It's on my vision board. I want to travel the world. I'm able to do that not because of my job, but because of my experiences, the podcast that I have and different things of that nature. So don't look at life as a linear thing. You have to be willing to open yourself to it coming a different way.
I love that, because God knows, or
Yeah, he does.
your higher power, whatever you want to call,
Right, exactly.
where the way that things should be. As long as you have that idea, go with it, make it fluid, keep working towards it. But like you said, it may not look like you want it to be,
Exactly.
but it could be even more rewarding, to tell you
Oh,
the truth,
yeah.
right?
And better than what you expect. 'Cause
Exactly.
you might want just a leather coat, and God trying to get you a
Yes,
fur coat.
exactly. Tiyauna,
Yeah.
thank you so, so much
No, thank
for
you for having
chatting
me.
with me. And it was just a pleasure meeting you. It really, really
You too.
was.
You too.